She's still observing you. Here's the reason for her silence. She observes your every move. She reflects on you. Yet, she will remain distant, and the rationale behind this will profoundly unsettle you. Many individuals navigate their lives in a state of misunderstanding, assuming that women function within the same emotional structure as men. They do not. A woman may choose to endure her struggles quietly, rather than acknowledge her mistakes. She chooses to observe your profile, replay your stories in her thoughts, and silently utter your name rather than engage directly. Do you believe she has found her path forward? Value. She observes, enduring the passage of time, endeavoring. Yet she will remain steadfast, unyielding in her resolve. Once you grasp the underlying reasons, your view on relationships will transform profoundly and enduringly. Share your thoughts below. I am prepared. If you seek the unvarnished reality, if you have experienced the sorrow of a woman who once held affection for you, now behaving as if you are invisible, this will be the most significant video you will ever view. Today, I will reveal the 5 harsh realities regarding her observation, yet her decision to remain distant. If you are prepared to confront the unvarnished realities with clarity and strength, continue watching. By the conclusion of this, you will perceive women, attraction, and your own self-worth in a manner that has the potential to transform your life profoundly. First and foremost, she finds herself captivated by the act of observing. She observes you with unwavering attention. She contemplates your presence, yet she will not take the step to connect. Not due to a lack of longing for your presence, not due to her having progressed forward. Yet she remains captivated by the act of observing, never granting you the fulfillment of understanding her true intentions. She finds herself captivated by the strength that comes from keen observation. She remains in the background, observing your images, reviewing your narratives, revisiting past moments, yet she will not be the one to reach out first. What is the reason behind this? Women engage with their emotions in a manner distinct from men. A man, in the depths of his longing for another, will take the initiative to connect. He will strive to do his best. He will endeavor to restore order. Yet a woman, she will endure the passage of time. She will plan with purpose. She will challenge your resolve in silence. Her lack of attention is not driven by a desire for your return. She observes, seeking assurance that she remains a presence in your thoughts. That reflects the essence of feminine understanding. She prefers to avoid the possibility of rejection. She seeks to avoid the appearance of vulnerability. Should she reach out, whether through a message or a call, or even acknowledge for a fleeting moment that you occupy her thoughts, she relinquishes her upper hand. She must recognize the limitations of her circumstances. For a woman, the pursuit of power holds greater significance than the need for closure. Thus, rather than extending her hand, she observes. She remains patient. She allows the passage of time to unfold its course. She holds the conviction that, in time, you will yield. She anticipates your engagement with her profile, your approval of her posts, and your presence in her direct messages. That is the nature of existence. That is the approach. And many succumb to it. Individuals often squander weeks, months, or even years, pondering whether she remains attentive, perhaps still harboring some concern. However, that is not the nature of women. A woman refrains from contacting the man who still occupies her thoughts. She extends her hand toward the man she fears may slip away from her grasp for eternity. At this moment, she remains unaware of any loss you may feel. She maintains her hope for your return. She remains there, quietly observing and gathering insights about your existence. She seeks to observe whether your contentment persists in her absence. She inquires whether you still hold her in your thoughts. She inquires about whether you are involved with someone new. Upon encountering something displeasing, she will respond without hesitation. Yet, not through extending oneself. Instead, she will share something designed to capture your focus. She will present herself as if she is embracing the fullness of existence. She may share images with other companions merely to gauge your awareness. However, she is unlikely to reach out to you, for in that instant, she acknowledges your influence over her feelings. Women retain their power resolutely, yielding only when compelled by circumstance. If she genuinely desired your return, she would take action rather than remain passive. You are already aware. She would find her way into your inbox. She will be reaching out to you. She would be exerting herself. Women do not linger in the background for those they cannot bear to part with. If she is merely observing, it indicates that you remain an option for her rather than a priority. That is the reality you must come to accept. As soon as you cease to provide your support, the instant you withdraw entirely, that will be the moment she begins to feel a sense of urgency, because in an unexpected turn, she finds herself in a state of contemplation. In an unexpected turn, she finds herself lost in contemplation. And that is when the true transformation occurs. Her mind will begin to dwell on your absence. Your quietude will resonate more profoundly than any spoken expression. For the first time, she finds herself in uncertainty, unaware of your thoughts. She remains uncertain about your progress forward, and that disturbs her peace of mind. Second point. Her greatest concern lies in the fear of relinquishing control, overshadowing the thought of losing you. She remains unaffected by your absence. She longs for the power she once held over you. She remains composed, not dwelling on her losses. She contemplates whether she still holds your emotional attention. If she genuinely valued your presence, she would not have allowed you to depart. However, this is not the focus of our discussion. This concerns the essence of control. A woman may depart from a man not due to discontent, but rather because she senses a loss of control within the dynamics of the relationship. She will challenge you repeatedly. Should you falter in those trials, yield to pressure, exhibit neediness, or place her above your own purpose, you will find her beginning to withdraw. Many believe that a separation occurs in an instant. It does not. It unfolds gradually. In reality, by the moment she decides to leave, she has long been distancing herself emotionally for weeks, months, or even years. She remained poised, contemplating the rationale for her departure. Upon discovering it, she departed. Herein lies the common misstep of many individuals. They believe that her departure signifies a finality, as if she has chosen to sever all ties permanently. It seems she has chosen a different path. She ought to find contentment in her own company. Yet what often goes unnoticed is that women may not depart with the intention of ending things permanently. They depart to observe your response. They seek to observe whether you will falter, begin to pursue, plead, or strive to demonstrate that they held the utmost significance in your existence. In that moment, clarity reveals the wisdom of their choice. When she witnesses your unraveling, when she observes your hesitation, she understands she has gained the upper hand. And that is precisely why she will refrain from initiating contact. For her, extending a hand would signify a loss of mastery over the circumstances. Women remain untroubled by the prospect of losing a man. They dread the thought of losing someone they can still control. Contemplate this matter. If a woman genuinely appreciates a man, she will take the necessary steps to ensure his presence in her life. She will ensure her presence in his life. She will express her thoughts. She will find a way to adapt. Yet, if she observes from the periphery, remaining silent, it is due to her conviction that she still possesses the upper hand. She believes you are in a state of anticipation. She believes you are observing her online presence. She believes you are contemplating her presence, feeling a sense of absence and reflecting on the moments shared. As long as she holds that belief, there is no impetus for her return. For in her thoughts, she continues to occupy a place in your consciousness. She will only begin to feel unease when that conviction is broken. When she comes to understand that her grip on you has slipped away, chaos will ensue within her mind. That is why she will carefully assess the situation before making any move. She will share something crafted to capture your focus. An image featuring another individual. A reflection that subtly conveys a sense of longing for another's presence. A lyric that reflects on experiences gone by, and she shall remain patient. She will observe your response. Should you choose that path, victory will be hers. Should you falter, it is then that unease begins to take hold. In this moment, uncertainty has taken hold of her. At this moment, she is uncertain whether her assessment was flawed. Now, she begins to reflect, did I truly lose him? Has he found his path forward? What could be the reason for his silence? Has he taken my place? And this is when the circumstances shift. A woman's greatest concern lies not in the potential loss of a man, but rather in the uncertainty of her influence over his feelings. That is why she will remain steadfast and not initiate contact. To acknowledge her mistake would be to relinquish control in the relationship. And for many women, that is simply intolerable. Thus, she will remain seated, observing, enduring the passage of time, testing, wishing that in time you might provide her with a sense of her enduring impact on your life. Thus, the most resolute action you can take is to disengage entirely. The moment she senses your absence, the moment she understands you are no longer engaged, no longer observing, no longer anticipating, her entire approach crumbles. Now, it is she who finds herself in doubt. She is the one who initiates the observation of your profile. She is the one who contemplates whether you have found another in her stead. She is the one who reflects on past moments. She is the one who contemplates every decision she has made. It is at this moment that genuine remorse takes hold. For the first time, she finds herself in a position of relinquishing control. Now, her concern over your absence outweighs her desire for control. And when that moment arrives, she will falter. The individual who remains indifferent ultimately prevails. When your concern begins to wane in comparison to hers, you have gained the upper hand. This is the subtle principle of influence that many fail to grasp. Women do not succumb to romantic tales. They remain unbound by words, promises, or the weight of the past. They become entangled in uncertainty, drawn to the enigma, to the sensation of being unsure of their position with you. The instant a woman perceives your intentions, the moment she recognizes your patience, and the moment she senses a lack of challenge, her interest wanes. It is possible that she still holds affection for you. She may still hold some concern, yet she will not pursue you. For her, the possession of your essence is already a reality, and women do not pursue what is already within their grasp. Women pursue that which they perceive as slipping away. A woman may fixate on the man who remains just out of reach. She will allow her peace to be disturbed by a man whose actions are uncertain. She will become profoundly attached to a man who instills in her the awareness that he could slip away at any time. However, if she is aware of your anticipation, if she recognizes your lingering attachment, if she senses that your concern outweighs hers, she becomes at ease. She allows you to carry the burden alone. She appreciates the admiration while remaining indifferent to the necessity of reciprocation. Herein lies the point at which many individuals undermine their own worth. For they do not stand firm. Instead, they pursue. Rather than maintaining a measured response, they allow their emotions to overflow. Rather than presenting a challenge, they transform into something foreseeable. When a woman perceives you as unchanging, the opportunity is lost. Why do women find allure in unpredictability? Have you ever observed how some women become fixated on harmful relationships? Have you ever contemplated why they consistently return to the one who shows them the least kindness? There exists a singular, straightforward explanation. That man consistently prevents her from experiencing ease. She remains uncertain of her position in relation to him. On one occasion, he displays a keen awareness. The following day, he maintains a certain distance. In one fleeting moment, he elevates her sense of worth. In the following instant, he withdraws. While many may perceive this as harsh or cunning, the reality is that this is what women desire. They seek not a man who yields to their every whim. They seek not a man who is perpetually present, perpetually accessible, perpetually compliant. They seek the excitement of pursuit. They seek the tumult of highs and lows. They seek to sense that your attention is something to be earned. When you offer your focus without restraint, when you render yourself overly available, you extinguish the allure in an instant. The challenge lies in the fact that many individuals are taught to embrace a contrary belief. Society encourages you to be accommodating, to be present, to express your concern, and to articulate her significance in your life. And then, after all your efforts, she departs. What is the reason behind this? Because she understands your presence is unwavering. She stands firm, unperturbed by the need to pursue, the allure of enigmas, or the desire for conquest. Thus, the most appealing quality a man can possess is an unwavering detachment from the results. To maintain a balance in her affections, to prompt her to reflect on her position in relation to you. That is what maintains her engagement. How you diminish your worth without awareness. Each instance of reaching out again diminishes your worth. With each attempt to justify your actions, you diminish your own strength. In your pursuit of resolution, you inadvertently relinquish your own strength. In her contemplation, she believes that if his feelings run this deep, the opportunity for reconciliation is always within her grasp. Should she come to think that your presence is guaranteed, her desire for you will inevitably fade. Women tend to hold little regard for men who pursue them relentlessly. They hold in high regard those who choose to depart. They hold in high regard those who do not plead for assistance. They hold in high regard those who are so absorbed in their own journey that the return of another holds little sway over their peace of mind. And when you embody that essence, she will perceive the change. She will sense the transformation. And in an unexpected turn, she finds herself pursuing you. How to shift the balance of influence. In this moment, she anticipates that your concern will surpass her own. She anticipates your attention on her stories. She anticipates that you are preoccupied with thoughts of her. It is anticipated that you will take the initiative to make the first move. And in those moments of uncertainty, her thoughts begin to unravel. She begins to reflect on her own thoughts and actions. Have I erred in my assessment of him? Has he found his path forward? Did he truly belong to me from the start? And when those thoughts arise, she will experience a sensation she hasn't encountered in quite some time. Uncertainty. It is uncertainty that draws women near once more. For the first time, she finds herself in uncertainty. She is the one who perceives a lack of control. And that is the moment she begins her pursuit. That is the moment she begins to extend her hand. In that moment, she comes to understand that you stand apart from the rest. You remain composed and untroubled. You possess strength within you. You are not easily swayed. And in an instant, her desire for you intensifies beyond measure. A profound transformation of perspective. Upon realizing that the one who invests less emotionally often emerges victorious, your perspective on women will inevitably shift. One shall no longer pursue. Attention will no longer be a pursuit for you. You will find peace in knowing that her thoughts are beyond your control, for you shall come to understand what is real. When you allow someone to feel as though they have fully captured your attention, their intrigue often diminishes. When you allow her to pursue you, her feelings intensify. When you shift your attention away from her distractions and focus on your own path, she begins to desire your presence. That is the path to victory. That is the way to reclaim your power. That is how you ensure she reflects on her decision to part ways with you. Number 4. Your silence carries greater weight than your speech. Silence stands as a formidable and unassailable force. It compels her to confront her own reflections, her own disappointments, and the understanding that your presence is no longer within her reach. A woman may anticipate your response. She will anticipate your resolve to stand by her side. She will anticipate that you demonstrate your continued concern. And when you falter, her entire world crumbles. Many individuals become ensnared by the allure of language. They believe that by articulating their thoughts, by ensuring she comprehends their perspective, she will inevitably return. They believe that with one more message, a reminder of the good times, or a persuasive argument, she will come to understand what she has lost. However, that is not the nature of women. Words hold little weight in the absence of genuine feeling. One might articulate the most appropriate sentiments. One might compose a message filled with deep emotion. Even if you lay bare your deepest feelings, it will not alter the reality of her absence. Women do not experience regret when provided with clarity. They experience remorse in the face of ambiguity. To instill doubt in another's thoughts, one must choose the path of absence. One must embrace the enigma within oneself. One must embrace the essence of uncertainty. For it is at that moment her thoughts begin to conspire against her. In that moment, she begins to reflect on the reasons behind your silence. In that moment, she reflects on the choices she might have made with greater wisdom. In that moment, she recalls the intensity of your gaze, the warmth of your embrace, and the profound sense of being cherished, as if she were the sole focus of your universe. However, none of that unfolds if you remain present in her life. Such outcomes are unlikely if she continues to have access to you. She must confront the absence to truly understand her remorse. She must come to terms with the reality that the choice to reach out is no longer available to her. It is through reflection and acceptance of consequences that one comes to understand the errors of their choices. At this moment, she holds on to the conviction that your presence remains. She is convinced that you are always within her reach. She holds the view that regardless of the passage of time, you will remain a possibility. In moments of silence, when you offer no response, when you withdraw entirely from her perception, she starts to reflect on all that surrounds her. She begins to reflect on whether her assessment of you was accurate. She begins to reflect on whether her presence was ever truly essential to you. She begins to measure you against every man who followed in your wake. And when those thoughts arise, she finds herself encountering an unfamiliar sensation, uncertainty. That doubt will overwhelm her. She will contemplate various scenarios in her mind. She will reflect on old pictures. She will examine past messages, seeking understanding of how you found the strength to move forward without her. That sensation holds a strength beyond any expression you might attempt. Now she finds herself facing an unexpected reality, the sensation of being overlooked. Women often find themselves in situations where men pursue them. They are accustomed to seeing men succumb to pressure. They are accustomed to men faltering at the slightest hint of separation. Yet, when she observes your inaction, when the truth of your absence dawns upon her, she experiences a profound disturbance that resonates deeply within her being. She recognizes her lack of control, and that is when the true sense of remorse takes hold. Not at the moment you convey a message, not when you articulate your perspective, not when you strive to rise above the situation. Yet, in moments of complete inaction, in that moment, she reflects, questioning whether she erred in her decision. In that moment, she begins to glance at her phone, yearning for the sight of your name. That is the moment she begins to engage with your stories with increased interest. Reflecting on your memories in the quiet of the night, contemplating the possibility of your connection with another. Yet she will remain silent on that matter. She will remain steadfast, never acknowledging any sense of regret, for that would signify relinquishing control. Thus, she will share things to capture your focus. She will present herself as if she has reached the pinnacle of joy. She will exert all her efforts to project an image of having moved forward. Yet in the quiet moments, she remains patient, anticipating your response with patience. Patiently anticipating your response. Patiently anticipating your words. And when you find yourself lacking, that is the moment when true anxiety arises. She begins to understand that perhaps, just perhaps, it was she who forfeited something of true worth. Perhaps you were more than an ordinary individual. Perhaps your value was greater than she realized. As she comes to understand this truth, it increasingly gnaws at her inner peace. This is why the man who vanishes entirely is the one she holds in her memory for eternity, because he transforms into the person she can never reclaim. And nothing weighs heavier on a woman than the man who chose not to return. Fifth in line, if she truly desired your presence, she would make the effort to be with you. If a woman genuinely desires your presence in her life, she will make her commitment evident. Act without doubt. Embrace responsibility. Clarity prevails. Women take initiative and pursue the connections they desire without hesitation. They do not linger in quietude, observing from afar, waiting for him to take the initiative. They take action. They strive onward. They assert their existence with clarity. Yet if she remains an observer, lingering in the shadows, engaging in all actions but reaching out, there exists a singular, unyielding reality. Your needs may not come first. She might be contemplating your presence. It is possible that she may feel your absence. Yet her lack of action reflects a diminished regard for your worth. And that is what distinguishes those who squander time on a woman from those who recognize their true value. A man of worth does not waste time pondering the reasons for her silence. He accepts her silence without excessive contemplation. He remains unaffected by her viewing his stories or checking his profile, refusing to entertain any illusions of hope. For he understands this fundamental, unwavering reality. If she desired his presence, she would have made it known. She would ensure that everything was resolved and clear. She would not engage in half measures. She would avoid generating any unwarranted confusion. A woman who genuinely desires a man takes the necessary steps to ensure he is aware of her feelings. She remains unaffected by the opinions of the online crowd. She stands resolute, unyielding to the allure of false pride. She creates her own path forward. She creates one. However, if she remains quiet, engaging in every action but reaching out, it becomes clear that you were never her primary option. She maintains her presence in your life, not out of a genuine intention to return, but rather to leave a small opening, just in case the circumstances shift in her favor. That is a profound reality that many individuals struggle to acknowledge. She is not wavering in her decision to reach out to you. She remains composed, not preoccupied with the thought of whether to make contact. She is not seeking a signal. If her desire for you was genuine, the trivialities would hold no significance. She would set aside her ego, reach out, convey her thoughts, and take the steps required to bring you back into her life. At this moment, she is not engaging in that action. In this moment, she has opted for silence. Silence speaks volumes on its own. The individual who comprehends this principle does not linger. He remains unwavering in his convictions. He remains steadfast, not yearning for a shift in sentiment. He understands that if she genuinely cherished their bond, she would have made the effort to preserve it, and the reality that she chose not to. That is all he requires to progress onward. Women possess a clear understanding of their actions. They are fully aware of the impact their actions have on you. They understand how quietude can lead a man to ponder excessively, how uncertainty breeds desperation within him. A small measure of focus maintains his emotional connection. And that is why many individuals remain ensnared in a state of uncertainty, caught between the hope of her return and the struggle to accept their own progress. Yet a person who genuinely respects their own worth does not engage in such trivialities. He remains steadfast, not yearning for approval from someone who has demonstrated through her actions rather than her words that he does not hold enough significance to warrant her effort. He remains untroubled by the unspoken words of a woman. He remains composed, not dwelling on whether she still thinks of him, cares for him, or regrets her departure, for he understands this essential reality. If she truly desired him, she would have made her presence known. Clear intentions, unwavering resolve, and decisive action, free from doubt. Women do not squander their time on men they perceive as worthy. They do not gamble with the loss of those they genuinely cherish. They do not remain quiet when they understand that such silence may lead to the loss of someone invaluable. Once you grasp this concept fully, you will find yourself no longer in a position of waiting for a woman. Do not waste your time yearning for her to make the first move. One should refrain from scrutinizing her social media presence, pondering whether she is conveying an unspoken message. For the essence of significance lies in the words left unspoken. When a woman remains silent, that silence speaks volumes. A man of true value does not linger for a woman to acknowledge his significance. He continues on his path, unyielding in the face of what has been lost, knowing that hope for her awakening is not a reason to halt his journey. He advances resolutely. He directs his attention inward. He constructs his dominion. He transforms into the man she will come to lament having let go. And when that day arrives, when she comprehends what she has relinquished, she will extend her hand. Yet, at that point, the opportunity will have passed. Because the man she left behind has transformed into someone entirely different. He possesses greater strength. He possesses greater acuity. He remains impervious to external influences. And the deepest sorrow a woman may experience is the realization that the man she once possessed is now forever beyond her reach. Cease the pursuit of illusions. Cease your anticipation for a signal that is unlikely to arrive. When you grasp the essence of female nature and acknowledge that she may observe but will not extend a hand, you liberate yourself from the confines of illusion. Proceed with resolve. Elevate your existence. Transform into the individual she wishes she had held on to. Consider joining us and lending your support to the channel. By subscribing, you enable the platform to share this content with more individuals who may benefit from this essential understanding. Embrace the moment and acknowledge the effort by hitting that like button. Share your thoughts below. I govern my feelings, not hers. You are the reward. Embody it.